Welcome to the Reverberations Podcast, where we explore the human experience and the journey of self-discovery. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, John Stuart, founder of 365, author, sound alchemist, specialist in vibrational medicine, and integrative wellness with a focus on emotional trauma. As always, it's an honor to share this time and space with you, as well as what supports this podcast. There's no questioning the importance of our dietary intake in regards to our overall health and wellness goals. Known as a transformation company, I was introduced to Purium a little under a year ago and implemented it as a staple in my daily personal and professional practice. Designed in consideration of human physiology, human metabolism, and human potential, the Daily Core 4 is made up of 4 pillars of natural Purium products to cleanse the body and satisfy its critical needs at a cellular level. Their products fit any preferred dietary lifestyle, whether you're looking for detox, life transformation, nourishment, weight loss, immune support, fitness, gut health. You will be supported on your journey. And perhaps what I appreciate the most is that Purium is in alignment with my values, sourcing from organic, sustainable farmers and practicing eco-friendly shipping with a commitment to be plastic-free by the end of 2021. Purium is a quality, trusted company with a vested interest in spreading economic freedom through plant-based wellness. Visit ishoppurium.com. That's IShopPurium.com. Enter referral code AMPLIFYYOURLOVE for $50 off your first order. At 365, our mission is to facilitate and support the maximization of human potential and global sustainability by advocating whole health and promoting harmony within and throughout. 365's products and services are based on the ontology of mind, body, spirit, sound, where we address the full spectrum of well-being, physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional wellness. My mission as a practitioner is to lead clients to a clear and gentle understanding of their inner truth, untangling the energetic and subconscious constriction within our mind and body at a core level, loosening the intensity of belief patterns that no longer serve us, and providing an opening for us to remember and return to a state of harmony, natural vibrancy, and complete state of well-being. It all begins within, and it all begins with you. For 10% off products and services, enter code IAMLOVED at checkout. What's good, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Reverberations. Once again, we have a special guest. We have Dr. Teri Mahaney with Change Your Mind, who is a specialist in Theta healing, in brain entrainment, and conscious leadership. And today we are gifted with the practice of Dr. Teri Mahaney, of where she's agreed to take on some of our callers today and play detective. And essentially what that means is she's going to be working one-on-one with people in laser sessions to be able to tune into things that we're either having a challenge overcoming, or we want to manifest, or we want to release, or something that we've been trying to change in our life and just haven't been able to get it, just haven't been able to push through, haven't been able to get over the hump. So Teri, thank you once again for being here. Again, it's always an honor to just to spend time with you, to share conversation, to powwow, and now to be able to share in the practice and to share with our audience what it is that you're of service to. Do you want to share a little bit about how we're going to play detective and tune into the Theta messages?
I do, John, but first I want to thank you, as always, for your trust and faith in me and these 4 poor innocent bystanders who have shown up and said, okay, I'll play, who have no idea what we're going to play with. So I always say that the single biggest courageous act that we can perform, each one of us individually, is our own open and honest self-examination. That takes more courage than anything I know. And I used to be a whitewater guide, and believe me, rowing a boat down the rapids doesn't hold a candle to taking a look at my innermost self and going, I really did that? And why did I do that again? And who did I think I was that I did that? So I just think this is the most courageous act. And I just want to honor each one of you individually. So what we're going to do is just one person at a time, 10 to 15 minutes each. They're going to suggest something they would like to play detective with. And I'm going to try to model exactly what I would do with a client. How do we get to the bottom of this? And when we get to the bottom of it, where's the theta message or pattern in it? And how do we get rid of it so we can make a change? And I won't be going through, of course, all the questions that can be asked, all of the approaches that can be taken. But John has graciously agreed to add a 1-page to the end of this podcast for the listeners so that they can have a guide of the kinds of things they could ask themselves without me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I do want to welcome everybody that is on here. We have Vanessa, we have Ali, Jody, and Katie who have decided to join us today. Thank you very much for your time, for being here, for entrusting us to tune in and to be of service and work with the medicine that's here. And who knows, after today, we may be on a completely new direction of overcoming and unveiling and unfolding our truth to lead us down that journey of self-discovery to be the best version of ourself that we know to be true. So I'd like to, at this time, to open it up to whoever would like to begin. Who is that brave soul that wants to leap in and jump into the ring? I hear a little laugh. Is that Vanessa?
Yes. I was like,
Good.
I know he's going to be like, Vanessa's definitely going to go first.
Good. Guinea pig number 1. Here we go.
It is me. Hello.
Great. Well, thank you, Vanessa. Tell me one condition you'd like to change or something that's going on that you want to know why you're doing it or not doing it.
So something that I've been working on, I wouldn't say it's something I necessarily just haven't seen any improvement on or something I can't get past, but it's definitely something that I am struggling with. And that is, really honoring myself and loving myself, feeling good enough. I've been working through some codependency issues and I'm doing very well with that, but there's just still something keeping me very much stuck from moving myself forward in my life in a positive way, working on my creativity. I keep myself very much stuck in work and consumed with being the helper for everybody else and deflecting a lot of the work and energy that I need to be giving to myself. So
that was great, Vanessa. That was so well stated and that was so perfect. And I don't know a person on the planet who isn't shaking their head yes right now.
right.
I don't know a person on the planet who can stand, with very few exceptions, who can stand tall and say, I love myself enough. I put myself first enough. I do my own work first enough. That's such a universal theme and what an interesting one to start with. I have an entire MP3, 180 statements called Love Yourself. And the research that I did on that, of course, had nothing to do with me, right? I was fine.
Right. Right. Always.
Yeah, the research I did on that was just rock and roll research. And the one that I had the most trouble with, honestly, in that was called self-hatred. I got a book by a psychiatrist who said at the root of all this is self-hatred. And I said, I don't hate myself. I think I'm great. And I went through all kind of denial about that. And I wasn't getting included on the script. And I did some additional theta work on myself and said, you know what? I have some of these characteristics. For instance, mine at that time was exaggeration. If you exaggerate, it's a form. It's a very, very, very subtle form. But it's a subtle form that I don't think I'm good enough, so I exaggerate it. And like if I paid $22 for something, I would say, oh, that cost $25. Well, it didn't cost $25. It cost $22.95. And originally when I read all this, I thought, oh, that's not really important. And then I really started digging around it. I thought that is extremely important. So you've hit on an incredibly universal thing. The second thing is to be a woman in our culture, in our society. This is an absolute natural thing. There is no question about it because our culture is an up-down culture. We believe in sports, winners, losers. We don't do co-creation. We don't do equality. We just don't do it. And the first person we put down is usually by gender, then by race, by whatever. So you've got a whole bunch in here. So I'm going to pull out one of these, if that's all right with you, which was I'm not working on my creativity. What happened when you were 11 years of age around creativity? Can I ask? Were you drawing? Were you painting? Something happened at school? You'd started music? Profile yourself for me.
11 years old. What grade are you in at 11?
You're 5-6, grade 5-6, 10, 11.
Okay. So that is when I had to choose between playing the flute and singing. So I was in choir every single year of school that I could have been. I was in church choir. So I think I wasn't really doing anything creatively other than that. I think singing's always been my creative outlet.
Perfect. And what messages were you given about your singing at the time? What were people saying to you? What'd you hear?
I just got a lot of attention for it. My family would have me stand up and sing, to friends. And, I always got, I think, positive feedback. I do recall doing a karaoke contest. I think it was at a Wendy's or a McDonald's or something in town. And my grandpa took me and I just froze and just cried and in front of all these people. And I just ran out. It was terrible. I think that's the only really bad experience I can remember surrounding my creativity, honestly.
Perfect. Now, do you remember what you said to yourself or what your grandpa said to you or what anybody said to you when you ran out of this karaoke contest? Did anybody say, well, of course, that's because whatever? Do you remember any messages around this?
No, I just remember them saying, well, it's fine. You're fine. Everything's fine. You're a good singer.
And how did you feel? Did you feel that was true?
No, because I remember feeling the reason why I froze is because I didn't think I was going to do good enough. I was comparing myself to everyone else.
Okay.
And I'm highly critical of myself in all ways.
Perfect. So thank you for being that open. Now I just want everyone that's listening just to get how quickly we found the core issue here. And the core issue was this young woman of 10 and 11 who froze and ran out. And this fear is still with her to this day. So the fear that was there then has grown and magnified and is just sitting there in her Theta closet going, yeah, right. Come out to sing. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You're either not going to be good enough or you're going to freeze. And that's a pretty significant message to keep somebody off the stage. I think we'd all agree to that. And this is how it happens. It just takes one, for want of better words, traumatic event, and it walks right into the Theta closet. And once it's in the Theta closet, Theta messages always win. We can talk to ourselves all day and all night. Theta messages always win. I don't like win-lose. Let me say it again. Theta messages always win. This is the one place I will play win-lose. And her message is real clear. I'm not good enough. And when I compare myself to others, I'm just going to run off the stage. Well, I wouldn't go back on the stage either.
Well, that's the interesting thing. And that's what I mean about, there's so many things that I do have continued to work through.
Right.
But there's still this blockage. There's still this message in my head. I tried out for solo performances in high school. I did a cappella performances. I got, solos on each concert that I tried out for. And I performed amazing, but for some reason that voice, it won't go away no matter how I push myself or, I just not sure why that is.
Do you know word for word what that voice says, Vanessa? Do you have one repeating what we call a personal law? Do you have one repeating statement?
Like in my head that I tell myself about it?
Yeah. Yeah, your self-talk. Do you have one repeating statement?
Yeah, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough. Okay. Give me the opposite of that.
I am good enough.
Okay. Give it to me on steroids. Pump it up a little. I'm beyond good enough. I am what?
I am amazing and deserving of love.
Perfect. When you say that, how does your body feel?
Like a little tense.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Vanessa. So Vanessa's already shared with me before we started, she's not necessarily a visual learner, but I'm going to guess right now she's a kinesthetic person. She's a kinesthetic learner. She responds kinesthetically because when I asked her for a body response, she had one immediately. Okay, and that body response is her theta message that says, I ain't buying it, chickie.
Exactly.
All day and all night, and I ain't buying it. So here's where positive affirmations hit the wall. I love affirmations. I did them for years. I taught them, etc. But here's the bottom line. An affirmation will not change theta. To change theta, you have to go to theta. And so this is locked into theta. I'm not good enough. And whatever she does, she's getting these responses that says, I'm not buying it, and I'm not changing for you, and I'm not changing for that statement. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So this is what I'm going to ask you to try if you're willing. We talked about it earlier. Just take this statement. I'm amazing. I'm deserving of love. You run that out any way you want to. Record it on your phone. Listen to it while you sleep, and give John feedback in 3 weeks.
Fantastic. I shall. I'm excited for it.
We can't get easier than that, can we?
No, it's really easy. It's super easy homework. I like easy.
I do easy. And now here's the bottom line though. If for any reason you're not feeling these kinesthetic changes with that, you're not starting to feel something because you are you register in the kinesthetic. If you're not starting to feel something in the kinesthetic, then what it tells us is you have a whole bunch of messages wrapped around that. And this is not a sales pitch. I'm just going to suggest you jump up on Change Your Mind, take a look at the MP3 called Love Yourself, and read some of those sample statements and see how they hit you. So this is how you work with Theta, you personally, Vanessa, with your profile. Write out, just do a mind dump on your computer one day and write out 50 statements of how great you are, and then read them and see what your body does. And if the body goes, yeah, that's cool, erase it. Just take it off your computer. And if your body goes, that's the one to work with. What you're looking for is argument. If you're a mental processor, mentally talking back. If you're a visual processor, flashbacks. But because you're kinesthetic, you're looking for a body response that says, nah. And every time you hit one of those, you hit pay dirt. You hit gold. You hit the message. You hit your own play detective. This is a message that my theta closet says it doesn't believe. So this is a message for me to work with.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
Isn't that fun?
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
I used to, after I'd done this work for years and years, I was writing so many scripts for myself. I might dump out, 100 statements and only one would pop off that page and go, nah. And I could just delete 99 of them because that was the sentence that said, this is where you're living, girl. This is what's keeping you from going where you want to go.
Absolutely. I do agree with you that I respond in that way because I'm very in tune with my body. And I definitely notice when that tension pops up, I recognize it immediately. So I think this should be some very easy homework for me.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for saying that. And in the future, just know every time you get one of your body sensations, if you choose to journal or in your notebook or wherever you want to do it, just make a quick note. This happened today and I felt this, because you got a theta message there to play with in the future. This happened, somebody gave me flowers and I tensed up. Whoa, what have I got in my past that I shouldn't be receiving flowers? Whatever it is, and just make a note of it. And when you got time, pull it out, or the inclination, when you're willing to take it on, pull it out and say, and where did this come from? When was I first given flowers and what happened with that? Well, maybe you were first given flowers at for the prom, and then the guy was a lousy date. I don't know what you're going to find. Or, your first boyfriend gave you flowers, but he ended up leaving you for your girlfriend. I mean, you don't know what the association is going to be. You see it like you see a train going across the desert. Those cars are all hooked to each other. It's not one long train. It's individual cars. It's individual railroad cars. And they have a great, big, unbreakable, thick hook between them, dragging them across the desert. And that's how messages can link up in the brain. I associate this with this.
Absolutely.
And so, the first railroad car may not be the problem, but if it's associated with the second railroad car, then we've got this association pattern. And that's what has to be unhooked in the theta cluster and the neuronal patterning. That has to be unhooked. So just to go back to this simplistic example, and so then you start playing with receiving flowers has all positive outcomes for me now. I have a whole bunch of just formula statements I use. And this has all positive outcomes for me now. I'm telling you, I love, love, love that statement, because I think, oh gosh, I can't go do that because X is going to happen. Wait a minute. Doing that has all positive outcomes for me now. And then it unhooked those railroad cars. The other one I will do, and this is one of my very favorites across all time. I am safe whether or not I am in control. For people who had particularly interesting childhoods, that means dysfunctional, most of them got programmed with, if I'm not in control of the situation, I could get hurt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and this can support a person in becoming really controlling. And when I found that statement, I am safe whether or not I'm in control, and got to watch my clients on it, it was just like gangbusters. Unhook those railroad cars. Control and safety are not twin sisters, twin brothers. Control is control. Safety is safety. I am safe at all times and places. I am safe whether or not I'm in control. And so we start reworking that connection. Well,
Wow.
Thank you, Vanessa. What a fun way to start. You were just
Thank you. I so appreciate you.
Oh, fun for me.
Terry, that was awesome. And one of the things, can you share, because you brought this up a few times, and I think it's really important to have the listeners understand, when you're talking about going into the theta closet, what does that mean when you're going into the theta closet, and why do we have to go there in relating to our memories and relating to unwinding that and healing? So when you're talking about going into that theta closet, what is it that we're doing and why are we going into that space?
Sure, John, and I would just hope that your folks would listen to that whole podcast that you did on the 4 brainwave states. So theta, we say up to bat, beta, alpha, theta. There are more brainwave states. Those are 3 major we play with in terms of making changes. Beta is where we are right now: logical, talking, speaking, doing, analysis, judgment. Great place to be when you're doing your taxes. Not a great place to be if you want to make any changes in your life. Alpha is when we get into that relaxed state, take a deep breath, meditate, daydreaming, playing, creativity, visualization, those kinds of things. Alpha is a great bridge to healing, a great bridge. And then slower than alpha is theta, and theta is the sleep state. REM and non-REM, 2 kinds of theta: rapid eye movement, non-rapid eye movement. Rapid eye, we have a lot of brain research on this. Rapid eye movement is where the action is. So whatever is going on in rapid eye movement is stored long term. That's what I call the theta closet. It's just my language. It's called these things that have happened and they've been stored there and they've stayed there for a long, 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 long time. The only way you can change those is to go back into that closet and change them in the closet. And that's why I call it a closet. As you know, I use the simplistic notion. If when you came into the room, you had a coat on, you hung it up in the closet. When you get ready to go, where do you have to go get your coat? Not a trick question. You have to go to the closet. Your long-term memories are exactly the same thing. If you want to change long-term memories from events long ago, or even from today, from a traumatic event that went directly into theta, you have to go to theta to change it. You can't talk it out. You cannot beta Theta. I cannot beta Theta. I can't out-talk Theta because Theta is where it has to be in Theta to be changed. So that's why I find it particularly expeditious and accelerated is just go get to the Theta message and go into Theta and change the message. That's, 2 to 20 years worth of therapy, talk therapy very often. And so that's what my work is based on, which is just more, how much fun can a girl have? I know different people do different things for fun, and I'm a little crazy. This is what I do for fun. So, and that's where you're really going to see the miracles and the overnight changes and the accelerated growth.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, because I think it's really important for people to understand that, we have to, they're saying the only way out is through, that we have to go back into that space to unwind that so we can truly release that and create the space for healing to unfold. So I really appreciate you sharing the clarity on that. And as Teri had mentioned in the previous podcast, we go through the brain states in depth, and you'll find a lot of information there. There's also some links that Teri had shared on our website for that information, so you can get a little bit more of an understanding of what we're working with. If you're confused on any of the terminology, feel free to reach out to myself, to Teri, and she'll walk you through and guide you through any of the terminology or the practice that we're dialing into here. So Vanessa, thank you so much. How did I know that you were going to be the first one to jump into the ring?
I feel like you were expecting me to be the first.
You're just you are just that go-getter. Hey, I'm here. Let's go.
Let's get it in. Oh, thank you so much.
No, thank you. I love and appreciate you dearly. So thank you for jumping in and, being the first one to go. The first one to go, especially in situations like this of where we're revealing ourselves and we're allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. It's when we're willing to go into that space, it says a lot about the people that are showing up here today. So each one of you are extremely brave souls who obviously have done a tremendous amount of work and are looking to be the best versions of yourself and just have fun with it, So again, I appreciate you all. And so who's going to be the next one that's going to jump in and have a little powwow sesh with Teri today?
I'll go ahead and jump right in.
Yay, Jody Pogo.
Hello, John.
Hello.
Hi, Jody. What would you like to play with today?
It's bounced around in my brain probably feels like 100 times, but it's probably only 10. I listened to the podcast, the first part of the podcast. I'm just amazed with what you do, because a lot of things you said resonated with me. I've stopped. I had a coaching business for many years, and I stopped because it was, and something that you said, well, if I haven't learned it, I don't feel right teaching it. And there's a lot of things that I'm working on currently. I'm like, I need to focus on myself right now. So I dropped my business for a little while just to focus on me, because I don't feel integrity to work with people when I know that I've got my own work to do. And I find myself in this place often where for the last 11 years, I've been working with rheumatoid arthritis in my body. So I've got pain that I work with, on and off, can be, crazy, intense, and sometimes it's okay. And I still go to work, 4 days a week. I still live a productive life and do things, but it also makes it very difficult for me to stay focused on things. And building a business, a coaching business especially, was difficult, and trying to stay focused on keeping going. I would bounce from going like crazy into my business, and then pulling back and focusing on myself, and going crazy and focusing on trying to get my house cleaned up, and going back to focusing on myself, and just kind of bouncing back and forth, and kind of feeling like I never really get fully completed. Like nothing gets fully completed. Like my business never, completely went off the ground. It kind of stayed, at a low level. It never really got very far. And my healing has progressed, but now I've had some backslides and things that I've got some blood work and things to look at. Now I'm feeling like more committed than ever to really figure out what's going on in my body and feel better so that I can do all these other things. but it's just, I think the thing and maybe I struggle with the most is really committing to one thing, because I'm also in studying for aromatherapy, which I've been playing with for many years. And now I'm going for actual certification after, wanting to be in this school for 10 years. And I'm very slow going with that too. It's like, I was super excited, and now I'm not kind of like kicking and dragging to get myself to discipline to sit down and do it. But I'm also realizing I have to focus on my body and my home too. Those are the two most important things. Yet I distract myself a lot. And so I think it's like I have a commitment issue to really commit to one thing and make it really bloom. I guess that's the right word for it. I'm not quite sure.
Wow, how much fun is this to play with?
Yeah, I'm like, how do I pick one thing? Like,
that's all right. I'm good. I'm down for this. We'll do it.
Yeah.
The noise you heard in the background was me applauding you when you said you went out of coaching because you didn't feel you were in integrity. I mean, oh, bless you, my woman. I would like to spread that across the United States to all practitioners, and we. About 90% of them. Did I say that? I really didn't, did I?
You're just saying what I think. when I hear people speak, and I've met, big people speak and go, wow, they're just as human as I am. And they don't know that much more than I do either. So, how are they on the big stage and I'm not, but I don't need to be either. And I feel a deep desire to do that at this time. I just want to figure myself out first and then go from there.
And I just so applaud you for that, and I respect you for that. Let's just start with the brain pattern, and then we'll play with the personality. Are you ADHD?
I think probably. I've never been actually diagnosed, but I guess I've probably self-diagnosed myself that a few times. Like, yeah, it's probably me.
Okay. So, there's one which is just a brain pattern, which is a chemical pattern that determines how our brain's going to work. Then the others are the personality patterns and the theta patterns. And my guess is that you have a wonderful combination of this. So I'm just going to ask you a couple quick questions. Which did you most identify, your mother or your father, between the two?
Good question.
Which would you say you're the most like?
Probably. Well, I'm a good mix of both. It's hard to say.
Okay. Which one of them bounced back and forth and didn't complete things?
My dad, probably more so.
And was that true in his business?
He didn't have a business. There was things he was going to do, but he didn't do them.
Okay. You hear the pattern. I'm going to stop right there. Do you hear a pattern?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a theta pattern. We're going to play. You threw out a couple, so we're going to throw a couple
more.
Sure. Was he able to make a commitment to business? Did he commit easily?
I mean, he worked jobs he did work long-term jobs. So he was able to, he did that. Okay. He was a part-time dad. My dad and mom split when I was little. So he was a weekend dad with me. So he wasn't a full-time dad. And I loved my weekends with him.
Great.
They were just awesome.
But so I think we've got some dad patterning going on in there. And then did mom have, I'm not going to ask your age, but I'm going to ask you, take your age less 11. You said 11 years ago you started with the body pain. I want you to identify what age you were then. And then I want you to think about your mother when she was that age. So if 11 years ago you were 30, what was your mom doing at 30? And tell me, did your mom have some physical issues at that time?
Sure. Okay. So let's see, 11 years ago, I was, okay. And what was my mom doing at that age? Let's see, how old would I have been then? I probably would have been about 20 then myself. So I was already moved out of the house. My sister would have been still living with her. I think she was probably having some issues with her current husband. That might have been when they were going through some interesting things there. And what was it that I was looking for in regards to my mom?
Was she having body pain and physical issues?
I know that she was having that. I don't think around that time, or if she did, she didn't talk about that. She didn't mention those kinds of things. I know that she did start having some major issues shortly before, well, probably the 10 years before I did. she had gotten into an accident and then had other things, and now she's dealing with Parkinson's. So she's got some major health issues currently that have been going on for years. But if there's anything back then, I wouldn't have known about it. She was very closed mouth about it.
Perfect. Bingo. Okay. Just want to make sure we're on their pattern. So this is for your own work, and you're doing such a great job working with yourself and your issues. You pattern after your dad on the business issues, and you pattern after your mom on the health issues.
That makes total sense, because some of the things seem reflective of what my mom's going through, what I'm going through. And she's my inspiration because she keeps going and going.
And which was one of your lines. You said, I just keep on going. Word for word, that's what you said to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's cool. We're modeling after mom. We're modeling after dad. Now, what we want to do is model the positives and leave the rest.
Sounds good to me.
It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Angela's Arian's work. Since you've been doing this so long, I can throw it out. I miss her so. But she had a meditation that she gave me permission to use when I was doing a lot of, spiritual retreats and whatever. I've been Sedona for 17 years. And it's this fabulous meditation. I don't know if she ever recorded it, Jody, but do me a favor and look and see if you can find a copy of it that you can meditate to. But she has you go back about 14 generations. It is so mind-boggling. And the bottom line is you go generation by generation by generation. One goes down one side of your back and one goes down the other side of your back, male and female, one gender goes down one side, one gender goes down the other side. And at each I'll cry. At each generation, you do a whole gratitude and you thank them for everything they brought forward and everything they gave you that is so beneficial for you and for your highest good, releasing all else.
And how do you spell her last name?
Arrien, Angelus, Angeles, Angelus Arian. We've lost her. She's been gone many years, but I'm the only one still alive from this group. I must listen to my own MP3s. But it's so powerful, and you can do that in, guided meditation, and you can do this any way you want to, but where you can do it writing out, journaling. You just thank each generation. Thank you for bringing this forward and this forward and this forward. And I make my commitment to you right now that I will carry these positive traits forward. And you know what? All those others, well, we're just going to leave them here. And that is one of the most powerful meditations and approaches I've used with clients over the years. So I'm going to suggest that you do whatever work is appropriate. You've been a counselor, you know how to play this game with, I'm going to make my list of what I want to carry forward, what I don't want to carry forward. Absolutely. I want to carry forward that mom keeps going on no matter what. Absolutely not. I want to carry forward that I have body pain. Absolutely not. I want to carry forward that I have this predisposition to these kind of health issues. And absolutely not that I want to carry forward, I keep my mouth shut about it at all times. And what I not substitute, what I fill in, you create a vacuum, you have to fill it in. So when I create that vacuum, then I fill in with, I carry this forward in all appropriate ways, and I dissolve all of these in all appropriate ways. And everything that I've dissolved, fill with love and light, or whatever your belief system is, Jody. I don't ever try to cross anybody's belief system. But right now, I would suggest a very fun first step for you is this family patterning.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
It's spot on, I'll tell you. And again, this is in one of the podcasts, I think, with John. I'm not going to say it's the most healing statement, but it is the most researched healing statement in the history of subliminal programming. When I did the research, over 100 theses and dissertations had been written on it then, and that was 30 years ago, so I can't imagine where it's gone now. And this is for weight loss, stop smoking, stop drinking, dyslexia performance in school, football performance. There was an exception with college-age male dart throwers. But across the board, this is the healing statement. And it is, Mommy and I are one. Now, being a feminist, therefore I believe in equality, all of my recordings have Mommy and I are one and Daddy and I are one. And then it goes through a whole section about how we're going to basically repattern our Theta closet, that I'm perfectly comfortable being at one with Mommy and carrying forward these characteristics, not too cool on these others.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't a judgment thing. I have so many people say to me, but I like my mother. This is not what's on the table. This is not criticism. This is not judgment. This is none of this. This is my free will choice. What patterns am I going to carry forward? What patterns am I going to leave behind?
Oh, sure. That makes sense. I love my mother, but there's certain traits I'm not going to carry forward.
You got it, girl.
My sister and I go back and forth. Wow, you sound just like mom. Oh, no.
Okay, let me give you, I'm gonna pump you up a little bit here, a little bit higher up,
Okay.
up because you're cool and you can handle it. You're going to do I release and forgive myself for being like mom. I release and forgive myself for not being like mom. I release and forgive myself for being like dad. I release and forgive myself for not being like dad.
Nice.
And you're going to play that out and you're going to start getting these family patterns neutralized. I think you're going to see a shift in your body. I'm going to say 21 days. I could be wrong, but I'm usually not.
No, that sounds, some of this I've kind of uncovered going, I've seen some of these patterns, like I've started to recognize them. And so this is really right on the head for me. Thank you very much.
So cool. I just love it. You're going to do some good stuff, by the way. John didn't ask me to do this, but here's your bonus. When you come back out, I don't know exactly what you're going to come back out doing. You're going to be doing it a little differently. Nothing personal. I don't think it's going to be the nutrition thing. That could be a piece of it, Jody. But you're going to come back out in a new way. You get these patterns neutralized and get them in alignment with who you are and who you want to be. This is going to open up, it's kind of like Vanessa, this is going to open up a creativity portal to you that you haven't seen before.
Awesome.
I have no idea what it is. I
don't either. I'm like, I know some of this stuff is still in here, but I know it's going to be different, but I don't know. And every time I get ideas, I'm like, all right, not right now. Thanks for the ideas, but not right now. Like I'll write them down, but now is not the time. So when it all comes solidified, then I'll go forward. But right now it's bits and pieces and doesn't all make sense. And I know it will eventually. So.
Or maybe it never will, but something will fall into place.
Something will fall in place and I'll start doing something that other than, just.
I'd love to tell you I've made sense of my life, but I'm not.
Well, in listening to you, you've had 23 careers. So I'm like, yeah, that's my life. This is like what my sister from another mister here. I love this.
It's like on those applications where it says married, single, divorced, whatever. I won't check them. I put across it happy.
I just put whatever. Yeah.
Well, good. I don't care about any of those things. What's important is what's my state of mind. So get over it.
Yeah. And what am I doing now? That could change, but what am I doing now?
How do I feel this very minute filling out this application?
Yes.
So that's all we need to know. Yeah, there's another piece kind of hanging around in there. If I get it, I'll come back to it. Wow. You said you had a sister. Do you have a brother?
No, I just have a sister.
Do you have
I have a son. Do you
have a young man that was around you a lot when you were young that was kind of in the house like a brother?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Well, I have my stepdad who's 10 years younger than my mom. So he's not that much older than me compared to my mother. He's 10 years younger than my mom. So he was only like 11 years older than me. So he was a little bit younger.
Yeah, is he kind of like the pesky? I get this brother figure that's, I hesitate to use the word irritating. That's such a judgmental word, but he's just mischievous isn't quite a strong enough word, but it's in that point.
Well, probably my sister kind of refers to herself as my brother too sometimes because she's, she was kind of a pain in the butt when she was little.
Okay.
So hard to say. I don't know. It could be either one. Yeah.
See if anything comes up for you, but there's something because there's a message that person gave you too, which is not serving your highest good. There was a message about, and it was, the funny thing is when it was said to you, it was like a criticism. It was actually a compliment, but it was something along the lines of, gee, I can't control you, or I can't manipulate you, or I can't, it's just like, how come I can't get you to do what I want you to? It was one of those kinds of lines, and you're going, because it's the wrong thing,
because I didn't want to.
Exactly. Because I want to. And what's your point? Give me a problem with this again. So that's going to float up for you probably within days too about who gave you this. How come I can't get you to do what I want you to? Well, because you're wrong.
I heard that a lot growing up anyway, just because I, didn't do my homework a lot and things like that. So it came from my mom often, probably my stepdad too. My sister wouldn't have probably said that unless I was trying to get her to do what I wanted her to do because I was grounded with her. Who knows?
I just want, I would like, if this feels right to you, I'd like you to add to this whole family stuff you're doing. I don't have to do what other people want me to do.
Yeah, that's a good
one. I
one.
love myself whether or not I ever do what other people want me to do. And I'm perfectly okay whether or not I do what, and run out about 50 sentences. Mm-hmm. My career takes off whether or not I do what other people want me to do. My financial future is assured whether or not I do what other people want me to do. My health is taken care of whether or not I do what other people want me to do. I want you to run this one up the flagpole.
Sounds good. That is a common theme of worrying about what other people want me to do sometimes.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. You get these two kind of tap dancing together, and I think you're going to have some real fun.
I love the tap dance. I've been tap dancing through everything. Thank you.
That's going to be your next video, Jody, is you got to do one tap dancing out in your porch.
That would not surprise me. Now, I have to learn how to tap dance, so I've never actually learned. So.
Oh my God, that could be, I just see it. I see it being so fun.
Uh-huh. Cool.
Thanks, Jody.
Thank you very much, Teri. I appreciate you.
Yeah. And John, if you don't mind, before we go on, because things keep looping through my head, Vanessa, I just want to go back just for a minute for you, because I wrote down karaoke on the top of your page. And I want you to go through and analyze the difference of when you do things and when you don't do things. Because karaoke was you were on a stage and you were in front of people. But when you said you tried out for all those competitions, you won, you sang a cappella and whatever, and you were just fantastic. That wasn't on a stage playing with other people. So I want you to go back and I could be wrong, but just check for yourself. Do I have this? Do I have a different expression when I'm playing musically, when I'm playing with other people, or when I'm playing alone? You said I sang in the choir, but that's not you out front with people behind you, i.e. musicians. So I'd like you to go back and just put a little more analysis into that as to me in front singing, people behind me playing, or me singing to a microphone karaoke behind me playing. Is there a difference in those kinds of scenarios from a cappella and choir, of when your body says, I'm not going to be good enough, and when your body says, chill, I'm fine? And I think you're going to find that refinement in your approach toward those performances. Okay, John, thank you for letting me dogleg. Rock and roll.
Absolutely. So I've got everybody muted on here. So whoever would like to come up next, just hit your unmute and welcome into the fold.
I think we scared them off.
Either that or they can't figure out how to unmute.
I'm feeling the call. I'll hop in there. Can you hear me?
Yes. Is that Allie Mae?
It is. Okay, Teri, you're like so on point.
Thank you.
This is like a gift for sure for all of us. I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like something big, and something big is going to be realized.
Yay!
I can feel your power to like really go straight to the point. So
well, let's go get it, girl.
All right. So, wow. Okay. So what's coming up for me is like in the pursuit of my ultimate dream as like a visionary and an artist and a creator and healer. There have been so many discourses, life events of adversity, like very close together, one right after another, that I know are working in my favor because that's how spirit works, but also, wow, just like really incredibly challenging. I was in a life-threatening car accident which was like, wow, I walked away, and I'm an athlete. So it was like, I was lucky to live, but then also like super fortunate that I was still able to continue being an athlete and have all of my limbs and all of that. So then just in awe of having my life, but then having this financial situation because of the car accident that was like mind-blowingly upsetting, that kind of broke the mold of how I even feel about finances, which was over $100,000 in medical debt. And then like issues with like mentors falling off, like having a fallout with mentors and things like that, that all seem to be putting me on the path of where I need to be, but also takes so much courage and strength to persevere through.
Mm-hmm. 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 So in one statement, where do you think you are now? Where are you on the path?
I feel like I'm in a really beautiful place of independence where I'm being asked to stand on my own 2 feet at ground zero and really choose carefully who and how I want to be assisted and be open to receiving, because I obviously am not, it's not something I need to do by myself or on my own.
Thank you so much for that quick overview. Do you think you had an NDE at the accident? Do you have a near-death experience?
I didn't feel the impact, but I blacked out, and I woke up upside down in my car, not able to breathe, with blood dripping down my face, and I couldn't scream or move or anything.
But you don't have any flashbacks, or you don't have any of that traditional.
No, I've tried. I wish.
Yeah, I love to go there, right? And what kind of an athlete, may I ask, Allie Mae?
I'm a competitive bodybuilder.
This is just an aside. I don't know if you've kept up with the fastest woman in the world on a bicycle. Have you seen her videos?
No.
184.9 miles an hour.
Wow. Oh my God.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's one of my clients. She's pretty cool. And I usually don't talk about my clients, but she's been public about it, or I would never mention her. Interestingly, between the time I made the first high performance, you're going to win this, you're going to break the world's record, which was, I think, 157. So she kind of blew that one out, didn't she? So not only is she the fastest woman, I shouldn't have used that limitation. She's the fastest person in the world on a bicycle. Interestingly, between the time I made her high performance personalized script for her and the time she got there, she had a horrible bike accident, broke a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't believe it was quite as significant as your car accident, but it was a huge accident. And then she came back. They had a big bike pileup. And then she came back to set this record even higher than she was going to set it before. And that is coming to mind as I'm listening to you. I have no idea what that means. I'm just giving you information. I just have that model in front of me of a fantastic woman on the path in one direction, who felt like she was sidelined by an accident and actually came back on a higher path, which is the sense I'm getting from this. Okay. And the reason I ask about the NDE is you said, I feel like I'm in a beautiful place. Now, many people come back from a life-threatening accident saying, I'm in a beautiful place, that haven't gone up and gotten a little bit of a glimpse of a different way of looking at life. So that's pretty entertaining to me. If you were to go back and analyze who was I before and who am I now, that would just be a fun kind of reflection exercise for you. And you said, I'm in a beautiful place. Now, listen to this language. It's kind of fun. You said, I'm in a beautiful place. I'm independent. right? Stand on my own and ground zero. And then you said, I need to be open to receive. I know I can't do it alone. So I think this independence, I don't want to say codependence, but interdependence. I think this independence and interdependence is a theme that you are now playing with. I think it's a big theme for you. And that could be why some of these mentoring patterns have fallen off, because you have shifted the energetic pattern of what it's like to be a mentor and a mentee. And you have shifted the energetic pattern of what it's like to be independent and independent and intradependent. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to just jump out there and put myself on the line. As John knows, I'll say anything. And I'm going to push this theme a little bit. And I think that's because you've come into a different relationship with spirit. And you
absolutely.
Yeah. And so you can put that in any language you want to. So before the accident, I had this relationship with spirit. And since the accident, I have this relationship with spirit. So that has shifted. Okay. And I think that shifted in a big way. And so from my perspective, a big thing for you now is changing a lot of the old theta patterns, quote, so you are BA and AA, before accident and after accident.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a lot of stuff from BA that to support AA is going to need to be modified. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to go about that.
Well, let's just do something fun and simple for you, Allie Mae. Let me just take a minute, and you've got a notepad, I think, or something you can write with.
I do.
These are some of the statements I'd like you to play with. My accident has all positive outcomes for me now. It is easy and effortless to shift from my pre-accident self to my post-accident self, and then run that out in whatever language you want, in light and glory, and you just go crazy with positive statements about that. And I'd ask you to run out about 20 of those. And you challenge yourself to come up with 20 different ways that this easy, simple, transformative shift is going to put you in this spiraled up to this higher place. And again, most athletes are kinesthetic, but since your accident, I'm not sure that you're still kinesthetic. I'm not sure that you haven't shifted into a sense of knowing space. And a sense of knowing is just this flash of lightning goes through the top of my brain, and it's very easy to doubt because I didn't see it, I didn't hear it, I didn't feel it. And it's like, did I make that up? So, so if you're having this sense of knowing that you're walking around going, did I make this up or is that real? Then you've shifted into this sense of knowing kind of way to access your information. And as you write these out, let your whatever sense comes forward. Let that sense come forward to either validate or say, no, probably not that one. Let's reword that one a different way, until you get some really solid, fun statements about how this transition is easy and effortless and bringing you into a higher state of being.
Beautiful.
And again, if you're interested, I would record those and play them at night.
Okay.
But that one, yeah, you got a big change. Well, we all do. What can I say? We're all going through change. What a silly thing for me to say.
Well, what it did most for me, what the accident did most for me in my awareness is remove any allowance for time to care about what other people think about the pursuit of my dharmic prophecy.
Perfect.
So it's just it's
Perfect.
like I have to move it aside because I know life is on its own timeline, and I just don't want to regret holding back.
Yeah, it's that old-fashioned, your opinion is none of my business. Thank you for sharing.
Right.
Yeah, Okay. And that was supposed to mean what to me? I used to say I was in management, obviously leadership a long time. I'm a bottom line kind of girl. And these guys would say these comments. And when they were finished, I would just look at them and said, and you thought that was going to mean what to me? Yeah, you want to stop somebody in their tracks, say to them, your opinion really doesn't matter to me. So, I mean, that was an opportunity for growth. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And you thought that was to be important to me for what reason?
That's an empowered woman right there.
Yeah, because what are they going to say? Because I'm more important than you are? Because I think I'm better than you are? Because I think I'm smarter than you are? Tell me what you could possibly come back with on that one that I wouldn't like to put my boot on. Yeah. I'm sorry. And you gave me that feedback for what reason?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, if you haven't read it, it's a very old book, but it's called Women's Reality, Ann Wilson Schaaf. She said, anytime you're called crazy, illogical, or stupid, congratulations, you're living your own life.
Yes.
So that's how you answer that. Allie Mae, I think it's really crazy you would think about doing that. Oh, thank you. I must be doing the right thing. Yes. How can you be so illogical? Oh, perfect. I must be spirit-led. God, I think you're completely crazy. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I do actually. Yes.
She was so liberating for me back in the 80s. That was just so very cool. And my favorite that I used to get told all the time in management was, wow, I can work with you. You think like a man. And my response was, wow, how cool. And I think like a woman, which means I think twice as well as you do. You might want to learn to think like a woman. So just hang in, girl. You're doing fine.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. If you need somebody to tell you're okay, just email me and say, Teri, am I okay? And I'll write back, of course you're okay. What are you doing? It's not what you're doing that makes you okay. You are okay.
Yep.
And what you're doing is an expression of that. Makes sense? So you don't email me and say, I'm thinking about doing this. Do you think that's okay? That's not the point. You are okay. And how you're expressing that is okay. It's not what you're doing. You are okay. Now, you get to express it any way you want to.
That's a powerful statement right there, Teri.
Cool. You get to express it any way you want to. I had fun last night. I'm a member of OMA Museum here, and they had a big social thing last night. And I went, one of the women I adore, go to lunch with, she's an artist, and she introduced me to her husband. She thought that was to be great. And I'm meeting Mr. Total Complete Uptight Corporate, right? And of course, he's asking, he says, so you live around here? I said, no, I'm homeless. I mean, fuck. Which right now I am. I'm staying with a friend while my place opens up on the 22nd, and I converted my car to a camper. What's your point? And of course, when I saw it hit him so hard, I am just heartless. I said, yes. I said, I've converted my Mercedes to a camper. And I said, as a matter of fact, did you see Kathy Kinane here? And he said, I don't know who she is. And I said, well, she was on the cover of Newsweek, but that's okay. And I said, she's got that 3-story house on the corner of Carlsbad Village. And I told him, and I said, and when I sleep on the street, I camp right under her house in the library parking lot because they have a porta potty and a wash station. At this point, this guy's completely unraveling. And I'm pulling on that yarn just as hard as I can. Let's watch this sweater unravel. And, I said, I saw her and her husband at night, and I said, I hope you guys don't have a birth. I hope your bedroom isn't on that top floor because it looks right down on my camper and I sleep naked. And at that point, the guy was totally complete. And I thought, I have done my part today for corporate America. We've just expanded mindset. So the point is, you're okay, Allie Mae. You express it any way you want to.
Thank you for your medicine.
Of course. Well, Katie, by default, we get to play the longest with you. Hi, Katie.
Hello. Good afternoon. All right. So I am coming with some desires to really work on, I guess, my desires to be here on this planet And also I'm kind of struggling with some depression and anxiety. And the thing is, I feel like I've got a pretty good life. I've got a company, and things like that. But it takes a lot some days to get going and stay motivated and wake up with a smile on your face and be human. So I don't have a whole lot more than that. It's just been seeming like it's more of a struggle than it should be, especially with all the work that I'm putting into my day-to-day.
Thank you. That was good and clean and quick. Obviously, you're a businesswoman. You get to the bottom line. You're good on your strategy. You probably keep a timeline. You probably, you got a lot of good skills in your box, girl. Let me ask you a couple of quick questions. Would you rather build a house from scratch or remodel it, or move into a house that's just the way you want it?
Move into a house just the way that I want it.
Mm-hmm. If you had your choice to buy a house that wasn't the way you wanted it, but one that you would just put up with, which would you do?
I don't ever want to buy a house.
Let me change the language. Move into a place that wasn't exactly the way you wanted it. Would you change it or would you put up with it?
I would change it.
Okay. Would you do minor modifications like change the rug, or would you paint? Well, that's not a minor modification, or would you be ripping out carpet and fixtures and stuff?
Probably just minor, because I would likely be renting because I'm not a settle in and stay somewhere all the time.
Well, you already answered my question. That's what I was about to lead you to. You're not a stay somewhere all the time. You're good for 18 months and you're going to burn out. 2 years and you're going to start being self-destructive. So I don't know how long you've been in this new company, but your timeline's killing you. It's not you. How long have you been in this company?
It's been 5 years.
You're dead.
It's my company.
Nothing personal. When I learned this about myself, thank you, Margaret Mead, I had breakfast with her, and I'd been in a job for 2.5 years, and she talked to me a few minutes and said, "Why haven't you quit?" I said, "Well, actually, I want to, but I was 33 years old, college dean, administrator type, and I said, everybody tells me I'll never get another good job like this," and on and on and on. She said, "Teri, you could never stay anywhere more than 2.5 years," and I haven't since, and I have not been unhappy. I'm not saying give up your company. I'm just telling you this is a pattern for us in leadership to know about ourselves. Maintainers are good forever. Remodelers, 18 months to 2.5 years. Innovators, creators who start from scratch, 18 months to 2.5 years. If they're not doing something in that time, they're going to get stale. They're going to get depressed. They're going to start not feeling good about life. Interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I have done longer than that is change your mind. 35 years is a little longer than 2 years. But the point is, every person is a new thing. Every script is a new thing. Everything I research is a new project. So while the structure is there, I'm constantly doing new projects. So the first thing that I'd like to just chat with you about is this pattern doesn't change. It hasn't changed for me. But how do we find renewal within this pattern? Because I don't think you're going to walk away from your company. You've put way too much time and energy into it now. So I'm going to dogleg over with one more question, and then I'm going to come back to it. What do you think's the most fun you've ever had? Ever?
Oh my God. I don't know. Going to a music festival? Terrible answer. Yeah.
If it's taking you that long to answer, Katie, you're not having enough fun.
I'm not having enough fun.
Okay. So we've got some Theta messages in there that say work comes before play. I value myself through my accomplishments, typical type A behavior. You probably know that stuff. You're a bright woman. So you know what the type A personality is. I only feel good about myself when I'm performing. The more I perform, the tireder I get. The more tired I get, the less well I perform, the worse I feel about myself. So the more I perform to feel better about myself, which makes me more tired. The more tired I get, the less I perform, the less I feel good about myself, the more I try to perform. You hear the cycle?
Yep.
It's the rat cage. That's the gerbil on the wheel. That is the gerbil on the wheel. So there's a self-love piece in there, but there's an overachiever piece in there. There's a type A piece in there. Was type A. I like to think I've done enough modification. I'm now what we call a type C. John will tell you we laugh all the time. I send him texts with a little emoji for a sloth. And I say, today I'm doing my sloth impersonation. So I work diligently at not being a type A. Now, did you listen to that language? I work diligently at, that means I'm a type A. You get it? We can run from ourselves, but we can't hide. A type B wouldn't even have the word work in their vocabulary, much worse diligently. Okay. So I'm a type C who works at not being a type A, but so far so good. So the way that gets created, I had a wonderful, loving relationship with my father. I honor him to this day, and he was a traditional John Wayne father. And what happened is all of my "I'm so proud of you, kid" statements were linked to performance. The type A personality is created by all of the honoring and appreciation and the compliments being on performance, not who you are, but what you do. And that creates the type A. And I, we had, as I said, good relationship. When I got this research, I went back to him. I said, "Dad, it's your fault." And he said, "What?" I said, "You kept telling me how proud you were of me." And he chuckled and he says, "That's bad, right, kid?" I said, "Yeah, because you never just said, 'Kid, I don't care who you are or what you do, I love you anyway.' I'd like to hear it from you now." That is a huge shift. So what we're going to move you to for this theta messaging is, I love myself unconditionally, whether or not I am performing well. And you're going to run that one up the flagpole. I love myself unconditionally, and I'm going to ask you to try to find 50 endings to that statement. Whether or not my company makes it, whether or not. I love myself unconditionally when I'm goofing off. I love myself unconditionally when I am being a sloth. I love myself unconditionally when. I love myself unconditionally at all times and places. Whether or not I mess up, I love myself unconditionally. I love myself unconditionally when I make mistakes, knowing it's in the human condition. I want you to run that one all the way around the flagpole 3 times.
Okay.
And the other thing type A sets up, and of course, we're all in denial about type A. The way I discovered it, I was single parent, dual career, and I was watching my kids' gymnastics, class one night, and I was sitting there working on a budget. The woman beside me said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a college administrator. I don't want to give too much away." And she said, "You're a type A personality. I'm a psychologist." Excuse me. I said, "What's that?" She explained it. I said, "No, I'm not." She says, "Yes, you are. You're not just sitting here watching your kid, you're working." I said, "But this is just time management." Argued with her. And she said, "What do you do for fun?" I said, "I'm a whitewater guide. I run rivers." And she just cracked up. She said, "That's type A." I said, "No, it's very relaxing." She said, "Right." Whereupon I started studying type A. How embarrassing, I was type A. So this is one I know on a cellular level. Cellular. And the only time I go into this kind of depression is when I put myself in a box and I do not allow myself unlimited choice. When I put myself in a box into an either or category, I find myself shut down. Well, today I either have to do the dishes or I have to go, no, whoa. Today I can do anything I want to. Now, what do I choose? And so start repatterning your thinking to definitely away from either or, and you can start every day with, today I can do anything I want to. What am I going to choose to do? And this also was important to me. I took have to, ought to, need to, should, and must out of my vocabulary. It took 1 calendar year. I took it out of my vocabulary. I don't speak it. And then I took it out of my self-talk. As you know, I teach. And when I was teaching back in those days, just playing all the time, and I would say to, I'd give out the syllabus, and the student would say, does this mean we have to do a term paper? And my response would be, if you choose to pass the course, you may want to do one. And he'd look at me and go, what does that mean? And I'd repeat it, and he'd turn to the rest of the class members. He says, did anybody understand what she just said? Do we have to do a paper or don't we? And I would watch the percentage of students in the class who could grok that statement. And it was usually no more than 1 or 2 out of 28 to 35 students who would laugh and say, she's telling you to do the paper, dude. But that whole, we are so inculcated with the have to, need to, ought to, should, must. And then, of course, we pass it on. We've got that whole don't, should on yourself stuff. But just get it out of vocabulary and start getting that out of your mindset. And have a mantra. Develop something that you start every morning with. I can do anything I want to today, and I'm going to choose to do this. And it will just, it will lift 20 to 30 to 40% of that stress right off the top. There's very interesting brain research, by the way, on this statement. I said I was going to do it for a year. I wasn't very good about it. I think I did it for 7 months. For 7 months, every morning, I had a journal. It was called I Choose to Believe Journal. And I wrote a statement. I choose to believe it is possible for, and I would write a statement. The next morning, first thing was by my bed. I'd reach for that choose journal. I choose to believe it is possible for, for me to do this, for this to happen, for my business to be easy and effortless, for me to have nothing but fun while I, build my new conscious leader business. Every morning, I choose to believe it is possible for, and be sure and put a lot of statements in there. My life to be easy, my life to be fun, my business to grow without struggle. Get all of these issues that you've said today and get them into I choose to believe it is possible, and put in the opposite of those.
Okay.
And start repatterning.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
And so you're not kinesthetic. You don't feel that in your body, do you? Where do you feel that? Most likely mental. You a mental processor, Katie?
Yes, but I think I'm kinesthetic too, because I do feel stuff in my body.
Oh, perfect. Well, I've been hammering you with enough energy. You should. This is type A sister to type A sister. Let it go. Type A sister to type A sister. Hang out, have some fun. Yeah. So I think that'll help you get on the other side of that. And while you're writing those statements out, don't be surprised if you don't have a lot of flashbacks and whatever of having heard these messages or, getting your approval when you were the good little girl performing and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff may float up.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. It's like looking in the mirror. Been there, done that, girlfriend.
Thanks.
And this is sort of like Jody with the fits and starts. How I have made peace with that. I'm not saying I'm modeling this to you. Please do not follow my example. But the way I've made peace with that is I just do these, like I just took the 18 months off to write my memoirs, wrote 3 books, and then I just pulled the plug. So I have this tendency to, 10, 1, 10, 1, 10, 1. I have yet to develop the ability to do 5.
Mm.
I just don't have it. If I did, I'd be happy to give you some advice, but I don't have it. I don't have, I think I'll work 4 hours every day this week. That just usually doesn't happen for me. 9, 9, 1, not, it's the way it is. So then the next piece is for me to be able to accept myself about that, because type A, we are self-critical. and just accept that and go, wow, cool, Teri, look how much you got done this week, exactly in the pattern you wanted to do it. Or look how cool your pattern is that you can really do that and just hang in for that many hours and then take a day off. Good for you. Instead of, is there some reason you can't just level out, chick? So we want to be able to repattern that complete appreciation for who we are and the patterns that we are using.
Yeah. All right.
Your business is about to take a major shift, by the way, isn't it?
Probably. It's freaking me out.
Because it's going to get too big or too small.
I just think it's going to be really different.
I'd agree with that. So have you got some good folks around you, a good team?
I struggle with them a lot.
Type A is not always the easiest. The first time in management, they did a 360 review on me. I thought I was a complete cream puff, and I got statements back from my staff. I was killing them.
Yeah.
And I met with my staff and said, was this a joke? And they said, are you serious? I said, no, was this a joke? I took the division, I increased the division by 500% in 3 months, and I thought that that was normal, and they thought maybe they were being worked a little too hard. That was very important for me, that 360 review, to sit down and say to them, and here's your type A, perfect type A, Katie. I said, look, you guys, I'm going to have them run this again in 6 months. I want these scores different. So what do I need to do to make them different? Perfect type A, perfect type A. Let's turn this into a performance issue. But I give them credit. They gave me the feedback. Hardest thing I ever did, I did it. And the next 360 came back. I was actually a human being. So there's just a lot of self management for a type A. And now I don't know how it's possible, but the last places I've worked, most of my staff has absolutely loved me, despite the fact that I fire more people than anybody. My students love me, despite the fact that I am the only graduate professor that gives wholesale Fs. But I think I've learned to self-manage to say, these are my standards, but I am going to lovingly give you these standards, and I am going to lovingly give you feedback on these standards, and I'm going to give you several chances to be able to meet these standards before I give you the F. So if you're not familiar with it, this is kind of a dogleg, John. But if you're not familiar with it in management, we have I love performance appraisal. I love it. Most people hate it. But you have the 3 steps of performance appraisal. Just think about them in a large organization. You may already know this: verbal warning, written warning, and then your consequences. And it doesn't mean the first one couldn't be written, but it's just the way it's done. So the first one is feedback saying you're not performing to, my perception is you're not performing to standards. The second one is you still haven't improved. I'm going to write this down and put it in your file, basically. And the third one is I've gone to HR to ask for consequences. You have this long to straighten up. But it's not, as we say, leave alone, zap, leave alone, zap, leave alone, zap. Very often the type A, like me, puts up with it, keeps their mouth shut, keeps thinking they're going to come around. Then they hit a frustration level and go, wham, and the person goes, whoa, where did that come from? And you're saying, what's been going on all week? And they're going, I didn't know it'd been going on all week. Nobody told me it was going on all week. So there are just some real self-management techniques that support being a type A and running a tight ship and having a company that's meeting standards and still being perceived as a humane leader. Notice the way I said perceived, because we could be hard asses, but perceived as a humane leader.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. Good luck with that.
Thanks.
I have walked that path. It is well worn. You are not the first on the path, girl, but I think you'll pull it out. No problem. Watch the either or and watch the I don't give myself choice.
Yeah.
Watch the I keep myself in a box. Watch the I don't let myself out of the box place. have to, ought to, need to, should, and must. Watch for those.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, John.
Awesome.
We're good.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for coming on today. And Teri, thank you for the time. It's truly a gift for you to join us, not only today, for the previous podcast, and for the audience to learn about your work, to learn about what you're of service to. And not only that, one of the things that really, that I value tremendously, and I know that I share it with you, is the level of integrity and the level of being of service, though in a way of where we're taking personal responsibility and accountability for ourselves and for us doing the work, so that we can then reverberate that throughout the world that we're experiencing, and be that example. Because if we're not taking care of ourselves, then the world around us isn't going to take care of us any better. And for all of those that have joined to step into that and to say, you know what, we've got some peak performers on this call. We have 4 incredibly strong women that are on this call, that have each individually had their own business, have their own business, and I know each and every single one of them personally, and what their struggles have been, and they haven't even led into, what their life path has been. And for them to step into this realm and to know that there's still something there that they can do to be of service and to break through. That sometimes we have to go into that breakdown piece so we can experience that breakthrough. So I really appreciate the vulnerability. Teri, I appreciate your professionalism. I appreciate your candor. I love your storytelling. I love how you keep it real. And that's what I'm all about. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it raw. And let's make the most out of the moment that we have. And so again, thank you all for being here. Is there anything that anybody else would like to share before we close it out for the session today?
Thank you, John. Thank you so much for bringing this all together. And I would love an opportunity to meet the other women on the call sometime.
I would love that. Absolutely.
I'd just like to say thank you to you both. This was very interesting and deep and cool.
Jody, that's because you're cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really loved everything about this whole thing. I just found it really fascinating how I truly connected to each one of you women and your experience. And we were on mute, but the whole time I'm talking, I'm like, preach. I'm like, yes, exactly. I'm very much type A. And so it's interesting. It just made me think about how truly connected we are as human beings, how we really aren't much different. I mean, I connected so deeply with each of your experience. I had a near-death experience. I died 3 times in a car accident. I'm type A and I have my business, and there's all these things. And I just thought that was really fascinating. And I felt so connected to all of you. I thought it was really beautiful.
Absolutely. As one of my favorite sayings, and I know all of you hear me say it all the time, is on purpose and on time. And when we have this collective of group coming together with the level of intention and purpose driven ways that we engage in our life, that amplifies. And I mean, just the collective energy that is here on this call today for things to come forward. I'm really looking forward to what happens and unfolds over the period of days and weeks ahead, and would love to hear where everybody is, say about 3 weeks down the road.
Awesome. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You are so welcome. And thank you all for joining. Thank you all for listening. If you find anything in this podcast valuable, even if it's just one word, which I'm sure there's plenty, though, please check out Teri's website. It's changeyourmind.com. Again, Dr. Teri Mahaney, changeyourmind.com. You can go on there. She does have some free MP3s that are on there, so you can kind of try them on. Try before you buy. Feel it out. Give it at least several days. Allow yourself to feel into it. Allow your mind to rest into it. Allow it to go into that theta place. Allow your body to remember. And then if you find something that you're ready to dial into, give it a whirl. Go on there. You can get 3 of them, get an additional one for free. I'll tell you, that's how I became, in my own work, I go into theta, I go into the repatterning and unfolding and going into generational trauma. And there was things that I was working with. And when I met Teri, she did the whole thing in about 5 seconds. And I was sitting there looking at her like, how do you even know me? Like, did you do research on me before we even met? So it was truly, like I said in the podcast previously, change your mind. It was a part of my life-changing process. So definitely check out our website. And if you love the podcast, find anything valuable, share it with your friends, share it on social media, leave a comment, leave a rating. We're all in this together. And we're all on this journey of self-discovery, loving and supporting one another. So thank you all very much and have yourself an amazing day. We are better together.